Wait, is this pink Godzilla? And why is Godzilla running like Broly? And Kong and Godzilla are now Nakama. Since when did Kong and Godzilla become Naruto and Sasuke? Let's get this straight. I like both Godzillas. But Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, which has not even been released, is the Japanese Godzilla's Ochinchin level. Frankly, that's how perfect the Japanese Godzilla was. For me, the best movie of the year is Godzilla Minus One. I don't think Godzilla Kong: The New Empire is a bad movie. It's just that Godzilla Minus One is perfect. So for you, let me tell you why the Japanese Godzilla is so superior. So what is the biggest difference between these two Godzillas? To find out the answer to this question, I would first like to talk about what Godzilla is to the Japanese people. In 1954, an incident occurred in Japan. It was the Daigo Fukuryu Maru incident. The Daigo Fukuryu Maru incident was an incident in which many Japanese fishermen were exposed to radiation as a result of an American hydrogen bomb test, and is known as the third nuclear disaster after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The production of Godzilla began in order to make a film based on this incident to convey the dangers of nuclear weapons. For the production of Godzilla, Toho commissioned tokusatsu to Eiji Tsuburaya, the god of tokusatsu. In other words, the purpose of Godzilla was to convey to the Japanese people the threat of nuclear bombs, which are difficult to grasp in form, by making them easier to understand by creating a monster creature. What then does Shin Godzilla, Godzilla more than 60 years later, convey? It is the horror of the earthquake and tsunami of 2011, when the Japanese people were helpless in the face of such great violence. And this is depicted in Shin Godzilla, along with radiation. In other words, the invisible horror of the earthquake was made into a monster in Shin Godzilla. So what does Godzilla Minus One symbolize for Godzilla? Toho producer Kenji Yamada tells us the Japanese. Production of this film began in 2019, and society will experience overwhelming despair after 2019. It is the corona. In the corona disaster, the government was powerless. What could the government do in the face of collapsing medical care, no cure developed, and a coronal disaster? No, it could do nothing. Therefore, the people overcame the corona disaster by protecting themselves. And in Godzilla Minus One, the period setting is Japan immediately after the war in order to express civilians who cannot rely on Japan or even the US to confront the great violence by themselves without relying on anyone else. In other words, every Japanese Godzilla always has a theme, and that theme is what makes Japanese Godzilla special. So what is the theme of the American Godzilla? The theme does not exist in the American Godzilla. This is because the role of the American Godzilla is more like a pro wrestling battle action, where the strongest creature keeps fighting something, and Godzilla is used by the Americans as a pro wrestler because he is a famous monster. To understand why the American Godzilla became a professional wrestler, then one needs to know Eiji Tsuburaya, the god of tokusatsu. Eiji Tsuburaya entered the film industry in 1919 at the age of 18, shot Kaguya Hime as a cameraman in 1935, and in 1941, for the Japanese propaganda film The Battle of Hawaii and Malaya, he recreated Pearl Harbor using only the photographs provided, thus making the Japanese film industry understand the importance of tokusatsu. The quality of tokusatsu's work was so outstanding that after the war, the United States mistakenly believed that this footage was of the actual attack on Pearl Harbor. Then, in 1954, Tsuburaya shot Godzilla and became known in the film industry around the world. In 1959, with the birth of Japan, Tsuburaya successfully visualized the roots of the Japanese people through the power of tokusatsu. But by this time, the era of movies, music, and sports was over in Japan, and the country had moved on to new entertainment created by television. So Tsuburaya recruited his two sons to join the TV station and created Ultra Q in 1966. Ultra Q. It was a special effects TV drama featuring a different monster every week, and had a great influence on the generation of the Emperor and Hideaki Anno. The monster in the first episode is Ancient Monster Gomez, not Godzilla. The monster in the second episode is Giant Ape Goro, not Kong. Because such a large number of monsters appeared every week, and the quality of the stories was on the same level as the movies, it had an impact on children all over Japan. In 1967, another hit film was created that surpassed Godzilla. It was Ultraman. Ultraman is the ultimate monster battle action tokusatsu entertainment in which the cool superhero Ultraman defeats a different monster every week. Tsuburaya continued to create TV dramas such as the science mystery Kaiki Daisakusen and the horror theater Unbalance, and continued to renew Ultraman with new Ultraman every year, resulting in the creation of 42 Ultraman to date. Later in the 1990s, they tried to export Ultraman to the US with Ultraman USA, but a major incident occurred in 1995. A lawsuit was filed by a Thai company, and the export became impossible. And I believe that the fact that Ultraman was never exported is the reason why Godzilla was distorted in the US. In Japan, Ultraman satisfied the demand for monster battles, but Ultraman never came to America. Furthermore, the Japanese audience for monster battles itself began to dwindle as the Japanese broadcast the Kamen Rider series, which focused on battle action, and the Gundam series, which pushed the boundaries of tokusatsu through its anime adaptation. However, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and Gundam were never fully exported to the US, and Americans today use Godzilla to fight monster battles as a substitute for Ultraman. In other words, Americans do not really want to see Godzilla, they just want to see monster battles. And the Japanese do not want to see monster battles, they want to see Godzilla. If Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and Gundam had been exported to the United States, would Godzilla have fought Kong? No, they would not have fought. Because we know better battle action than Godzilla. And that is the difference between the Japanese Godzilla and the American Godzilla. That is what makes the Japanese Godzilla special. So today I talked about why Japan's Godzilla is better than America's Godzilla. If you haven't seen Godzilla Minus One yet, go see it now. Takashi Yamazaki is a genius. And if the film coming out in April 2024, Godzilla Kong New Empire, is better than Godzilla Minus One, I will apologize on this channel. Anyway, this channel promises to give you great Japanese information and change your life for the better, so please subscribe to this channel. Goodbye.